How would you like, when I do the introduction later, how would you like me to identify you as a philosopher and musician?
Yeah, philosopher and musician is good. I like, I'm big into comparative mythology too, but it turns out that like so much spirituality is just like some nonsensical spiritual bypassing, using spirituality as a way to you know, hide their ignorance and, you know, avoid pain and like, you know, I feel better, you know, to feel better personally or to feel special, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it winds up that I wind up coming off a lot more like a philosopher in terms of, you know, like making distinctions, but I use a lot of poetic, religious, like symbolism and things like that in a metaphorical kind of a way. So, I mean, I mean, they're both kind of philosophy.
Well, that's right. Well, let me ask you this. When you were growing up, did you, I mean, you paid attention to music? Music was part of your life?
Oh, yeah, yeah. A big part of my life. I grew up, you know, a big fan of Motown and like Michael Jackson and stuff like that. And then as I got a little bit, you know, older, I got more into hip-hop and even into some gangster rap, and, you know, like, I definitely, you know, my music and me, you know, I grew up, and as I grew, different types of music kind of resonated with me. As I got more into high school, more like punk rock and indie rock and like even more like love songs as I got a little bit older, you know what I mean? So like the you know, my music has always really matched my, you know, whatever I was going through in my life at that time and whatever I was feeling. And then, you know, as I got older, I started coming across certain other types of hip-hop, and I kind of know, like, it felt really natural to me because I was always really into had a lot more urban kinds of blues and R&B kind of influences, and so I definitely think I gravitate towards some kind of a hybrid of the two, some kind of rock, hip-hop, you know, hard and beautiful. I like the kind of dynamic and dialectic of the two.
And drum beats? I mean, you know, you start with Motown, where
yeah.
the drum was a very, almost always an integral part.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're listening to music this whole time. When did you start, this is an odd way to put it, thinking about philosophy?
When did I start getting into philosophy?
Yeah.
Well, I was raised really Christian, and
really Christian, that's an interesting way to put it. Evangelical?
Definitely, you know, born again, non-denominational. I went to a bunch of different kinds of churches.
Charismatic?
I guess there's a bunch of different distinctions you could make. Yeah, I grew up in a really Christian family, and that was really important to us. I remember when I got married, I was still a Christian, and my wife, in the wedding interview, she told my mom that, you know, the reason that she married me and that she loved me so much was because I loved God so much, and that she never met anybody who was so sincere in that regard. And I think it was, you know, verses like seek and you'll find, and this idea that, you know, the truth will always reveal itself no matter how hard you look. The truth will always prove to be true. You can ask a million questions, you know, and the truth will set you free. Seek and you will find, and all this. So as I really started to study Christianity, my tradition, not just what was in the Bible, but the history of the tradition and how it came together, I started to learn about all the different sects of Christianity, all the different versions of Christianity, and how it came together, and it really shook my worldview. Bart Ehrman is a really good person to study if you want to learn about early Christianity. And I mean, I pretty much found out that the Bible was written by several different authors, incredibly self-contradictory, and it crumbled in my hands, and I was left without a ground to stand on. And I think that is a really insecure place to be, but it is also a really exciting place to be. And I think a lot of people, when they have something similar to that happen to them, they're looking for something else to grab onto and be like, okay, this is me, now I'm safe. But for me, it was like everything that I looked at, it was the same kind of thing as Christianity. It was cool at first and interesting, but it had its negative aspects and its ridiculous aspects as well. And so I just became a student of different philosophies, whether they be religious traditions or philosophical ideas, and I became really interested in the unfolding of ideas through time. And there's a lot of cool philosophers that talk about that, like Hegel, and Ken Wilber is one of my favorite philosophers. And yeah, it's an ever-expanding understanding of this vast realm of knowledge, and I just learned to be like humble in my approach to it. You know, life is a mystery. You know, everyone thinks that they can hold it down and put it into some kind of words, but you know, truth is relative, and so there's many different cultural interpretations and versions of what's going on, and I just got really interested in that.
So with that curiosity that you have and that exploration, do you try to put some of that into your album or into your music?
Absolutely.
And isn't that a tough thing to do?
Yes.
And wouldn't it be something that even if it's there for you, do you want to make sure that it reaches other people?
Yeah. I mean, I think the real goal of my music is, in some sense, to try and resonate with people who are kind of on my same page out there, or that have similar interests. You know, the world is a tough place to be in right now. It's amazing. You know, I like Charles Dickens. It's the best of times and the worst of times. I think that's probably always true. But I think this album is really kind of, it talks about those kinds of positive and negative aspects, and it's really to try and say, to talk about how the struggle to live in a world that's seemingly set against itself, to how it feels to be awake in a world of dreamers who they don't want to be disturbed. And so not only does it kind of talk about the pain and the struggle and the desire that all beings would be liberated, and that we could come together and create a better world for our future and for our children. And so it talks about that too. You know, it tries to encourage you and to say, you're not alone. We're gonna make it. Find other people who are on your same page. Come together. Like, your discriminations and your moral sense is making a difference in the world. And please, for the sake of us all, keep letting your light shine.
And you want to get all that in there, but then you still want the music to be listenable. I mean,
well, I think it's a powerful message, and the real trick is to deliver it in a way that resonates with different people where they're at, because not everybody is the same amount awake, but we're all trying to become more and more awake, and I think just the goal is to just help people to feel like they're not so alone in this pursuit.
Is there a particular example that you'd like listeners to hear that works with
Yeah,
that?
I brought a couple songs. One of them is with me and my wife Candy, and in this it's a particular part in the album where I've just got done expressing my frustration and my worry, and it's to the point where I've decided that I'm going to make a change and that I'm going to start with me. And so this is like my love song to the world, and Candy plays the part of the goddess, you know, which is life, and so I play the part of, you know, the devotee, or the, you know, the person who is devoting themselves to life and to the process. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of in Buddhism. There's this idea of the non-dual realization, and that's where they talk about emptiness is form. They say form is emptiness and emptiness is form, kind of talking about in traditionally in most Eastern and Western religions, there's this kind of idea of throwing off the world for transcendence, whether it be heaven in Christianity, or nirvana, emptiness in the Eastern religions, and this is more about the non-dual embrace, like taking that understanding of emptiness and heaven and nirvana and that perspective and bringing it back into the world for service. And so, yeah, if you want, it's called Never Be Apart.
Play that.
A drop in the ocean, a drop in the sea, or am I the wetness, the very essence of everything, everything, everything. I open my eyes, I'm all that I see, mirror mind reflecting, still projecting, and I'm accepting my power to change what I see, before it changes me, before it changes me. You lift me up, we can rise together. Catch you when you fall. When times are tough, we'll get through together. We can never be apart. Never be apart. We can never be apart. Sacred goddess, I take your earthly body as my bride. I pledge allegiance to your seasons, embracing change as I abide. In the tide, you drop and rise. You move and shift your currents. This life's a ride, and you make me feel the power of your urges. See with my eyes, but I know the limits of my understanding compromises my control. So I will research and plan, open up my mind, my body, and my soul. Create this role and play it, open up my mouth and say it. I promise that each day I'm alive, I will live for you, considering your reaction to everything I do. If not for you, there would be no me. Only together can we ever be complete, balanced and free, living in harmony. I'm not talking about utopia. To say yes to life is to say yes to friction and to pain. After all, it is only through suffering that we gain wisdom. So how can we say that pain is bad, when to live is to suffer, and life is good? Suffer, live is to 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 suffer. You lift me up, we can rise together. I catch you when you fall. When times are tough, we'll get through together. We can never be apart. Never be apart. We can never be apart. And I know that times are tough, and you're wondering, will we ever make it? We have to make it. And I know that times are tough, and you're wondering, will we ever make it? We have to make it. And I know that times are tough, and you're wondering, will we ever make it? We have to make it. And I know that times are tough, and you're wondering, will we ever make it? We have to make it. And I know that times are tough, and you're wondering, will we ever make it? We have to make
You mentioned that your wife, Candy, is a collaborator on this album. There are a lot of collaborators.
Yeah, and Candy is on 8 of the 18 tracks. Most of the collaborations are on the second half, which is the more kind of like encouraging, we're gonna make it kind of half, and that's where most of the other collaborations are too. But yeah, there was a really unique collaboration process on this particular album where I had some friends on Facebook, and we had shared music with each other, and a Buddhist monk friend of mine who lives in Brooklyn, his name is Words Dharma. He does some hip-hop on the album, and also my friend Brian Castleman, who lives in California. So we're spread across the United States here, and while we were making the album, we just sent each other emails and information videos and talks and things like that to kind of try and get on the same page about what our songs were going to be about, what we're going to try to express through the music. And I just recently, maybe a week ago, just talked to Brian Castleman face-to-face on Skype for the first time.
So you had never talked face-to-face?
Not even on the phone.
But collaborated over Facebook and
yeah,
the
and
web?
we did like 5 songs together or something like that. And yeah, I mean, it was great. And I think there was a lot of pros to that in a lot of ways, because having to put your ideas in writing really makes you put a lot more thought into them and make them a lot more specific. And we could criticize each other in a way that was, I don't know, a lot more specific. There's a lot is communicated through body language and through, and usually a lot of times that leaves a lot unsaid, I find. So I like both writing and speaking and video, audio.
Couldn't have done that 30 years ago. You probably couldn't have done it 10 years ago.
No, it's pretty amazing the time that we're living in and the doors that technology has kicked open for us artists.
Are you an optimist? Because I mean, you say that especially the second half of this album is about encouragement.
Yeah.
I guess encouragement doesn't mean you're an optimist, though.
No, it doesn't. I don't think that there is, and I don't think that anything is destined to happen. I don't think that good will triumph over evil, or I think that you know, those kinds of dualistic ideas are kind of antiquated. I think that we, over and over in the album, I say, even in the end of that song with Candy, I say, we have to make it, which is sort of a double entendre, you know. Will we ever make it? We have to make it, you know. Well, that's the answer. We have to make it. Are we going to make it? We have to make it. Like, we have to stop asking for other people's permission. We have to stop looking for other people's validation. You know, we can't, you know, just vote for Obama and then think it's going to work out and then blame him when it doesn't. We have to really decide, what am I doing every day in the world, you know, and take responsibility for that. That's how we make it, you know. It starts with us deciding to do better, and then, you know, coming together and with other people who want to do better, and having in that creative friction, creating something, you know, bigger and better than either one of us could have done by ourselves. And, you know, I can make a bunch of noise and do a bunch of things, but really it's going to have to come down to people who decide that they want to live that way.
What would you say to someone who listens and then shrugs your shoulders and says, I don't get it? Because that's always the possibility. Someone,
yeah,
you know,
I'm sure it happens. You know, I kind of feel like I write music for like 0.2% of the world's population who will get it, and you know, and in some ways other people might get it too, and that's awesome. Sometimes I kind of, you know, feel like I might be a little bit of a novelty act, like maybe I don't want to be put in the same section as Weird Al, you know, in the books, in the CD store or something like that. But I definitely sometimes feel like I'm the only person doing what I'm doing, and that's a little bit scary and lonely. But it's authentic to me. You know what I mean? Art is about expressing yourself, and if finding other people who like it is like finding other people who get you. They're like another version of yourself out there or something like that. And I think it's so cool to find those people. And that's why I make music, is so that way I can resonate with people who are like me. And if you're not like me and you don't get it, well, listen to something else. That's fine.
We all don't get something.
Right. I mean, there's tons of things that I really like, that I'm not really, I mean, in terms of the message, that I'm not really into, and there's music that I like that I really like the music, and I'm just like, ugh, this message is crap.
Yeah. The key there is, don't get it stuck in your head so you're singing it under your breath at the store.
Yes.
You know? And people turn, what the hell are you talking about? By the time this airs, you'll be in a different time zone. You'll be in Florida.
Yeah, but we have the internet.
Yes, we do.
And my fans are, you know, they're spread out all over the world, because mostly I advertise through the internet anyways. You can go on the internet and download my album from iamdavidlong.bandcamp.com, and I have a couple albums on there, and you can download them all for free. They're set to name your own price, but you can put $0 in there. I'm happy to give my music away for free. It's finding its audience, you know, and the message is more important than money. If people can feel encouraged and feel like they're not alone, then goal accomplished.
What do you hope, if you and I sit here 2 years from today, you've been in Florida because you're moving to Jacksonville, what do you hope you're telling me about the previous 2 years?
Well, me and Candy are talking about starting Metasapien the band. Metasapien is what we call our project when it's me and her together. It's almost like a hybrid of like masculine and feminine consciousness come together as like Metasapien, you know, the next stage in human evolution or something like that. It's sort of a fun word. But yeah, we're going to try and make it like an actual band with, you know, real instruments and maybe some horns, and like do like a big production of it. So I would really like to see that. I think people would be pretty shocked and blown away by some kind of a giant band hip hop thing.
What if we were going to leave listeners with something off the album at the end of this? What would you select?
Well, the last song on the album is called Sangha, and Sangha is a word that means like communion in the Christian tradition. It's like a group of people coming together, and in that coming together under the banner of something higher, they're all lifted up, like and it sort of incorporates Eastern and Western traditional terms and language to kind of talk about this sort of sacred space in which we can come together and create a better world. And I think that's a pretty good note to leave it on.
We are gathered here today in embracing sacred union, offering at 1 minute when you enter this communion. Holy brethren, welcome to the Sangha. Let us gather in a circle. Mother Mary, Harry Krishna, this time Agni's burning purple. Now pass that sacrament to me. Yes, I'm the Holy Trinity, body, mind, and spirit, the Buddha, Sangha, Dharma. Tell me, can you feel it? Then practice yoga with your karma. Can you let down your defenses? Can you take off all that armor? Namaste. The time has come for us to seize the day. Yes, it's God's play, but what skills are you uniquely bringing to the table? Are you able to speak in and see through fable? Can you create and transcend labels? Can you enable the unstable? Now tell me, can you measure depth and span? And do you really give a damn when you wake up to give a hand? Just because you can? From what perspective are you moving? What direction are you going? What ends and goals are you pursuing? And what methods are you showing?
I don't really know how to answer that. Easy one to make it sound like a song. When I live with man, I just use the zone. Everything is perfect, I am now laughing. You're looking for something, you don't know what it is. Open my arms, guys, I'm dancing. Sitting on a train and I lost my thought of train. From the train and thought of the guy. And I remain as I am forever. I am forever. You're looking for me, but you're only dreaming. Truth is when you can detach and see it as fleeting.
Come let us all join in. Come let us search within. In holy communion we gather as one. We offer up our hands, our voices and our talents. Our service to the greater good has just begun.
Welcome to the Sangha, in which we all play a vital role. Each one has a special talent. We encourage you to grow as we discover new grounds. A new thought that makes a crown of wisdom that shine forth from divine source. The sacred sound. Marble boombox breaks the locks, release the knots, every stock of the mind, loose the spines from the heart. Read the signs. See, we are one family. It goes way beyond me. It goes way beyond the I. It's the intersubjective we. Let's all reach humanity. Let's all love entirety. Let's all rise above and beyond, shine reality. Cause we're living in the age of the narcissist grade, plagued by the false individual, selfish play. Invite the transcendental training of the sacred mental to evolve, to be gentle, spiritually influential. We encourage you to grow. It's essential to show new ways to expand in the land of the brighter road.
Doesn't even really matter where we meet. Sangha's not a physical place. Just leave your ego at the door, and we'll create our sacred space. Here in our circle, we are all equal. We all have something to give. We can all be respectful. We can all share. We can all listen. We are all parts of the same body. within. In holy communion we gather as one. We offer up our heads, our voices and our talents. Our service to the greater good has just begun. Come let us all join in. Come let us search within. In holy communion we gather as one. We offer up our hands, our voices and our talents. Our service to the greater good has just begun. Come let us all join in. Come let us search within. In holy communion we gather as one.
Keep it on.
Well, let me ask you one more question, though. We need to talk about the title again
Yes.
and what that refers to.
Spiral dynamics is a part of integral theory, and it has to do with stages of cognitive development, and also it has to do with value systems that are in place in the world. And so the reason I called my album Spiral Dynamics is because it's partly where my head is at right now. I named my last album The Outer Regions of Inner Space after one of the books by one of my favorite all-time, he's like my hero. His name is Joseph Campbell. He's a comparative mythology teacher. Comparative mythology is like other people's religions. So the reason I called it that is just because it has to do with dealing with where people are at and dealing and relating yourself to the context, and it also fits within the overall theme of the names of my albums, I guess.
You're probably never going to outsell Lady Gaga.
No, I'm never going to outsell Lady Gaga, but it's not about numbers or things like that. I mean, ultimately, it's hard to tell what art is going to be like in the future, because big picture, who knows? Maybe Lady Gaga is just some passing fad like Britney Spears in the night. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
And okay,
maybe.
and I mean, I still might not sell as many albums as Lady Gaga.
And nothing against her, but
But But if you look at art, big picture, you know what I mean? I'm young. I have a lot of years of art left in me, and I've been producing an album a year for like 3 years, or 4, maybe even longer. Just under this project in particular, 3 years. But I mean, if I keep going at this rate, I'm going to be like the next KRS-One.
hey, well, best of luck and best hope for the travels in the future.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Where can people again go if they're interested?
If you go to iamdavidlong.bandcamp.com, you can download all my stuff for free, and don't feel bad about it. I have it set to name your own price for donations, but I really just want people to have it.
Thanks a lot, David.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.